All right, section 11.3 talks about more about angles. So we have something called vertical angles. And it says vertical angles are created by intersecting lines on a pair of angles whose sides are two pairs of opposite rays. So it says angle 1 and 3 are vertical angles. Okay, so 1 and 3 and angles 2 and 4. Guys, vertical angles have the same measure. So whatever the measure of angle 1 is, angle 3 is going to be the same. Whatever the measure of angle 2 is, angle 4 is going to be the same. Okay. Supplementary angles. Supplementary angles says when we add them together, we end up with 180. Okay. You add this one and this one, you get 180. You add these together, you get 180. You add those together, you get 180. Okay. Complementary angles. Complementary angles, when we add them together, we end up with 90. So 60 and 30, 90 degrees. 70 and 20, 90 degrees. Add those two together, we're going to get 90 degrees. Okay, so the directions for this first problem say find the measure of a complementary angle, a supplementary angle, and a vertical angle for the measures of for parts A and B below. Okay, so it says the measure of angle A, 20 degrees. So the complement, remember the complement means they're going to add up to 90. So I'm just going to say, what's 90 minus 20? This would be 70 degrees. Supplementary angles means they add up to 180. So I'm going to say 120, or 180, I'm sorry, minus 20. This is going to be 160 degrees. It also said the vertical angle, so I guess I didn't put that one in here. So the vertical angle would be the same measure, 20 degrees, okay? Let's see. And then it says, if x and 12x plus 25 are the measures of complementary angles, what's the measure of each angle? Okay, I don't know why I didn't give myself any room here, so I'm just going to kind of move over to the side. X and 12x plus 25 are complementary angles. So x plus 12x plus 25. Complementary means they add up to 90. So x and 12x is 13x plus 25 equals 90. So I'm going to subtract 25 on both sides. It's going to give me 13x equals, let's take our calculator, turn it on. 90 minus 25 is 65. So when we divide both sides by 13, I get x being equal to 5. So let me do this. Come back here. So the measure of angle x is 5 degrees. If I want to find the measure of the other one, remember those two angles add up to 90. So 90 minus 5 would be 85 degrees, okay? All right. So now we have something called transversals and angles, okay? Transversals and angles. We have something that we call interior angles. I want you to look at what interior angles look like. It says angles 2, 4, 5, and 6. 2, 4, 5, and 6. 2, 4, 5, and 6. Notice that those angles are inside these lines here, okay? All right, then we have something called exterior angles. Exterior angles are 1, 3, 7, and 8. 1, 3, 7, and 8. 1, 3, 7, and 8. Those are exterior angles because they are on the outside of those two lines N and M, okay? So that's what those mean. Now let me erase this because we still got a couple of things to talk about, and it'll get a little messy if we don't. Let's see. Okay. Then we have alternate interior angles. Alternate interior means they're going to be on the inside, opposite sides of each other. 2 and 5, 4 and 6. 2 and 5 opposite, 4 and 6. They come in pairs, okay? Alternate exterior, 1 and 7, 3 and 8. 1 and 7, 3 and 8, right? Okay, and then we have something called corresponding angles, okay? Corresponding angles, 1 and 2. So what do I mean by 1 and 2? Look, 1 and 2, angle 1 is formed in the upper right corner of this line P and the line N, and angle 2 is also formed in the upper right corner of line P and line M, And so that we would say the same thing here. So like 6 and 8 are going to be formed in the lower right corner between lines P and N and P and M, so on and so forth, okay? Now, guys, one thing I want to mention. When we're dealing with parallel lines, which is what we have in this case here, okay? N and M are parallel. Then these angles are going to be congruent, okay? Which ones are going to be congruent? My alternate interior. These will have the same measure, and these will have the same measure. And then alternate exterior, those will have the same measure, and those will have the same measure. And the same thing with our corresponding angles. 1 and 2 will have the same measure. 3 and 4 will have the same measure. 5 and 7 will have the same measure. And 6 and 8 will have the same measure, okay? So I know that's a lot. I'm going to show you what we're going to do in this problem here. So it says, in this exercise, lines M and N are parallel. That's what we were talking about right now. Find the measure of each of the numbered angles. Okay, so if I look at my angles, it looks like we have 1 through 10. So I'm going to go like this. Angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, angle 5, angle 6, angle 7, angle 8, angle 9, angle 10. Okay? So let's see if there's a couple things we can figure out. Well, so this angle here and this angle here, those are vertical angles, okay? Because they're right across from each other. So whatever, this is 74 degrees, angle 1 is also going to be 74 degrees, okay? So that's something that we know. All right, let's see what else we know. We have another angle here. It says it's 117. Remember this here would add up to 180, okay? So if I wanted to find, say, the measure of angle 7, I could say, let's take 180 and let's subtract 117. So, oops, turn it on. 180 minus 117, that's giving me 63. So what that tells me now is that this angle here is 63 degrees. Well, look, you know what angle is also 63 degrees? Angle 8. So angle 7 is 63. Angle 8 is 63. You know what? This is, of course, our vertical angle, so this is going to be 117 degrees. Okay, so that's angle 6. That's 117. Let's see what else we know. Okay, so I'm going to clean up some of this mess just because we got a whole lot of it here. And I'm trying to keep this as clean as possible. Okay, I am going to label some of these angles. So we said this here was 117. We said that was 63, and we said this one was 63. Okay, let's see what else we know. So guys, just looking at my picture here, this angle here and that angle there would be corresponding angles, right? Meaning they would have the same measure. So I know that all of this business here, this whole big piece angle, is going to be 117. But we already knew, because it was a vertical angle, we knew this one here was 74. Okay? So if I wanted to find the measure of angle 2, I could take 117 minus 74, because this big angle here is corresponding to that big angle there, and corresponding angles have the same measure. So 117 minus 74, 117 minus 74, that's going to give me 43 degrees. So this angle right here is 43 degrees. Okay. You know what other angle is 43 degrees? Angle 4, because that's going to be vertical. Okay. Let's see, what else do we know? Wouldn't this one here, wouldn't angle 3, if the whole thing is 117, wouldn't angle 3 have to be 63 degrees? Because these angles here have to add up to 180. So that would tell me angle 3 is going to be 63 degrees. And then if that's 63, then so is angle 5. Okay. And I need to find the measure of angle 9, and I need to find the measure of angle 10. Okay. So let's take a look. For the measure of angle 9, guys, if I add up all the angles on the inside of a triangle, they have to add up to 180 degrees. So I know that 43 163 is going to add up to 106. So if I say, what's 180 minus 106, that's going to give me 74. So this angle right here, 74 degrees. Okay. Well, if that one is 74 degrees, that's a vertical angle to it. That's also going to be 74 degrees. Okay. And we found the measures of all our angles. Okay. Notice, guys, when I'm going through this problem, the one thing that I was really trying to do with everything was I was trying to go slow, okay? And then just use some of those properties that we talked about a little while ago. Okay, so here we go. It says the sum of the measures of the angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. Okay, so let's take a look here. It says find the missing angle. So we already know that this angle here is 90 degrees, and we know that one is 37. So let's take 90 and 37 and add them together. That's 127. Now we're going to take 180 minus 127. So 180 minus 127 is 53 degrees. So this angle right here, the missing angle, is 53 degrees. Okay. All right. And the next problem says the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a convex polygon with n sides. It says the sum of the measures of the interior angles in any convex polygons is n minus 2 times 180. That's what happens when we add up all the angles on the inside. We have to add them up. Okay. Oops, let me get my eraser. And then it says the measure of a single interior angle of a regular n-gon. So guys, what we would mean by this part here is that if you have something that, say, looks kind of like this, and I'm trying to make this as neat as I can, and it's not coming out as neat. But if they were all the same, then each angle, the way we were to find each of those angles is we'd use this. It has to be regular, meaning all the sides have to be the same, okay? All right. It says, determine the measure of the interior angle at vertex A. Okay, so let's see if we can't figure this one out. Okay, so we're going to add up all these angles here, okay? So let me get my pen. So I'm going to say 3x plus, I'm just going to go in this direction. 4x plus 4x plus another 4x plus another 3x is equal to the measures of the inside, right? All those angles. N sides. How many sides do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's my n, 5 minus 2 times 180. Okay, so I'm going to add these up. That's 7. 7 and 3 is 10, and another 8 is 18, so that's 18x. This is a minus here, so 5 minus 2 is 3 times 180. So 18x is equal to, I'll take my calculator, 3 times 180. I'm going to say it's 540, yes. 540. Then we're going to divide both sides by 18. Okay. So divided by 18, that's giving me x is equal to 30 degrees, right? But it says we want to know the measure of the interior angle at vertex A. Well, vertex A is a 3x. So that would be 3 times 30, which should be 90 degrees, right? Okay. Let's see if I can do the same thing here. Determine the measure of the interior angle at vertex A. Okay, so I'm going to start off by adding each of these angles up. So 2x plus 5x plus another 5x plus another 5x plus another 5x plus 2x equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 sides on this thing. Okay, so the formula is 6 minus 2 times 180 degrees. Okay, so that's 10 that's 20. 24. So this is 24x is equal to 4 times 180 So 24x equals, this should be 720. Okay, so now I'm going to take 720, divide it by 4, and I'm coming up with x is equal to 180. And if this here is a 2x, so 2x would be 360 degrees. That's how much that angle would be there. Okay. All right. All right, so then the next problem says an irregular polygon. So guys, an irregular polygon, that's already telling me I'm going to use this formula right here because I see the word regular. Okay. The measure of each interior angle is 168 degrees. How many sides does the polygon have? So my formula is n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. It's telling me that that number is 168. So I'm going to think of this as 168 over 1, and I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply like this and multiply like that. So multiplying this direction, that's going to give me a 168n equals 1 times this will be the same thing. So n minus 2 times 180. So this is 168n equals, let's distribute, 180n minus 360. Okay. Let's see. Let's minus 180n on both sides. So take my calculator, 168 minus 180, negative 12. So I have a negative 12n equals a negative 360. So when I divide both sides by negative 12, guys, remember a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So I'm just going to take 360 divided by 12. And how many sides does it have? I think it has 30 sides. Those are big sides. Okay. All right. So the next problem here, let's take a look. All right. So this next one here says find the measure of x of the angle x in this figure. Okay, so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to start adding them up. I'm going to say x plus 130 plus 135 plus 126 plus 124 plus 125 plus 137 equals, let's see how many sides we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. Why is my pen stop working? Sorry about that, guys. Let's see. There we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my formula is 7 minus 2 times 180. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, clear this out. Let me start adding up my numbers. 130, 130 plus 135 plus 126 plus 124 plus 125 plus 137 is 777. Let me make sure I got those right. 130, 135, 126, 124, 125, 777. Okay, so x plus 777 is equal to 7 minus 2 is 5. So this is 5 times 180. 900. Okay. So now I've just got to subtract 777 on both sides. Minus 777 equals 123. And there's the measure of my angle. Okay. All right. It says ABCD is a trapezoid with AB being parallel to CD. Find the measures of angles X, Y, and Z. Okay, so we can do that. Let's see. Suppose we wanted to find the measure of angle Z. Okay. Remember, we said that if we add up all the angles on the inside of a triangle, we're going to get 180 degrees. So that just tells me that Z plus 45 plus 58 adds up to 180. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out, clear, What's 45 plus 58? Oops, forgot my plus. 58. 58, there we go. That's 103. So z plus 103 equals 180. So I minus 103. Z should be equal to 180. 180 minus 103. 77. Okay, so angle Z is 77 degrees. Okay. Let's see, what else do we know? We should know that this here is going to be a right angle. So that means that x plus 58 is going to be 90 degrees. Oh, come on, pen. Okay. So minus 58, x is equal to, that should be 32 degrees. Okay. So angle x is 32 degrees. And then angle y, so this is already 90 degrees, then angle y will have the same measure of this one here, because those will be alternate interior angles. So that would be 58 degrees as well. Okay. All right, it says an angle measures 27 degrees more than 8 times the measure of its complementary angle. What's the measure of the angle? Okay, how about it we say x is the complement, okay? So then the complement x plus 8 times x plus another 27 is going to have to add up to 90 degrees, because that is the complementary of it, okay? So look what I did. 8 times the measure of the complement plus another 27. So now when we add these together, that's 9x plus 27 equals, 90 degrees. So now I'm going to go minus 27 minus 27. That gives me 9x equals 90 minus 27 should be 63. So when I divide by 9, x is 7 degrees. So the complement is 7, and the angle itself, 8x plus 27, would be, what's 90 minus 7? 83 degrees. Boom. Those two right there add up to 90, right? Okay. It says the measure of angle WXY is 90 degrees. Okay, so we know this angle right here, 90 degrees. And it says that WY, this side here, is perpendicular to this side here, so this is also 90 degrees, okay? Just trying to get some information here. Let's see. And ZWX is 32. Okay, what else do we know? All right, so this here is also 90 degrees. First thing we want to find, what's the measure of WXZ? So WXZ, we're looking for this angle right here. Okay, so if I already know that this piece is 90, that means that these two here have to add up to 90 as well, because the inside of those angles add up to 180. Okay, so I'm going to say, what's 90 minus 32? That's going to give me 58. So that's 58 degrees. Okay. Measure of angle ZXY, this angle here. Well, if I know that this is 58, then this one here has to be 32. Because again, that's a right angle, so they're going to add up to 90 degrees. The measure of, let me erase some of this mess. Okay. And let's see. The measure of X, Y, Z. X, Y, and Z. Okay. So if we knew this one here was 58, and we knew this one here was 32, this one also has to be 58 degrees, right? And then it says if the measure of ZWX is A. Okay, so let me think about this for a little bit. Let me clean some of this mess up. Oh, come on, eraser. There we go. Okay, so it says if the measure of ZWX is A. So we're going to call this now A. Choose the correct expression for X, Y, Z. X, Y, Z. Okay, so if I think about this as one big triangle, right here, I already know I have a 90-degree angle there, right? So that means that this angle here and this angle here are going to have to add up to 90. So if I already know that this is A, then this piece here would just be 90 minus A. Okay. And that is 11.3.